Hello ladies and gentlemen. On this episode of Unhinged, our gracious host has decided that I shall begin with an important opening message. Though we go forth alone, our soul unites us under O's gladsome rays. We're never lost, never afraid, for we shrink not under the sun of righteousness. Ra binds us to those we love. He gives us strength when we have none. And in the darkest places, he guides us. For Ra sees all, feels all. His love eternal. Ra, protect us, so that we might protect others. And we shall rise, a fire in his heart, burning and free. And their will of Ra be done. Now, let us begin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of Unhinged. I told you that this episode would be a mystery, but alas, a mystery no more, as revealed in my last episode. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the legacy of the Lord of Destruction, the Overlord of Evil, the one and only Skeletor. Now, if you're not familiar with Skeletor, he is from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, debuting in September of 1983. The series being developed by the animation studio Filmation, following Mattel's creation of a line of action figures revolving around the titular hero a year prior. The series was about the planet of Eternia, pretty much a medieval-like world where magic, myths, and fantasy elements existed. The heroes, of course, Prince Adam, the the son of King Randor and Queen Marlena. Prince Adam becomes endowed with fabulous secret powers when he holds the Sword of Power by the power of Grayskull, which turns him into He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Helping He-Man protect Castle Grayskull from conquest sought by his diabolical arch-nemesis Skeletor are his close allies the Sorceress, Teela, Man-at-Arms, and Orko, along with his cowardly pet Tiger Cringer, who also transforms into Battle Cat. The show was wildly successful during its initial run, from 1983 through 1985, even spawning a spin-off series about She-Ra, who was He-Man's twin sister, Princess Adora. So this is where it all began for the world of He-Man. But what's really great, well, what is great, wait, Kiriakos, you kind of having a stroke. So what is a great hero without an awesome villain? You know, that's what I say, to counter his affinity for all that's moral and just. Well, the answer to that is Skeletor. Now, who is this awesome bad guy called Skeletor? Well, he's a former pupil of the leader of the evil horde, Hordak, and the resident megalomaniac of Snake Mountain, where he and his army of minions, prominently Evil Lyn, Beastman, Merman, Triclops, and Trapjaw, plot and carry out many attacks on Castle Grayskull. Hoping to defeat He-Man and obtain the powers held by Castle Grayskull, of course, Skeletor ultimately wants to conquer the entire universe. The entire thing, guys. The entire universe. Oh, and he also wants to exact revenge on his former mentor, Hordak. So what a guy. What a guy. Now, the thing that I love the best about Skeletor is his origin. Because late in the original series, it was heavily implied that he was, in fact, King Randor's long-lost brother Keldor through a line of mini-comics that followed the show's end, specifically a 1986 arc called The Search for Keldor, where Prince Adam and Randor search for his mysterious brother. Skeletor finds out about their quest, okay? Hints that that secret was never known. He kind of says, they must never be known. Well, they must never be known. Nobody knows who they are. It must never be known. The nature of the disappearance of Keldor and what he mastered, sorcery, correlates heavily with Skeletor's magical powers and arrival through another dimension, yada yada yada. And King Randor also almost comes to the conclusion that the two are one and the same. But in true Skeletor fashion, Skeletor stops Randor and the sorceress from looking into the space-time rift, pretty much like an annual portal of knowledgeable vision, so you could see everything that's going on within the interdimensional universe where Eternia exists and figure out exactly who Skeletor was, where he came from. So he possibly prevented them from learning his transformation from Keldor into Skeletor. Now, Skeletor was so frantic in stopping them, even though he was defeated, it was seen as a confirmation that he was indeed Keldor. And then in the 2002 reboot series, his origin was touched on again, where we see Keldor actually become Skeletor due to a deal struck with Hordak to save himself from dying.
And the name is Skeletor. Not a pretty sight, is it? You did.
2002 reboot series anyway, but one of the show's producers actually stated that they are in fact half-brothers and they share the same mother. Dun dun dun! But down the road, further development around his origin was expanded upon, so it was like a final kind of connect the dots moment for Skeletor, where he is Randor's half-brother, which makes him He-Man's uncle. So talk about some Days of Our Lives soap opera drama stuff, guys. Some soap opera drama stuff. But you can't talk about Skeletor without mentioning how many powers this guy has. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, does he make Superman look like his power list is underwhelming. Now, Skeletor is a master of dark arts, okay? So picture him as kind of the overpowered Snape of his world. No, not really Snape, Voldemort. Okay, Snape turned out to be a good guy. Skeletor's a bad guy. Is that a spoiler? A little spoiler? No, everybody knows Harry Potter? Okay. He's a master of the dark arts, and his abilities to make you wonder why he hasn't been successful in beating He-Man is just mind-boggling. Okay, so besides these guys, alright, yeah, blame them, he can teleport. Use telepathy. He can grow plants, which, unless you're some kind of horticultural enthusiast, I don't understand why he would need to grow plants, unless he's going to choke He-Man with some kind of, I don't know, dandelion patch or something? I don't know. Some kind of weird plant, like he's like poison ivy or something. Anyway, he can create mystic illusions, so imagine Doctor Strange there. He can do stuff like that. He can hypnotize others. Alright? He has freeze rays at his disposal. And he has the ability. He has the ability to open dimensional portals. I mean, Jesus frickin' Christ. Like frickin' Stargate. Skeletor can open up portals to other dimensions. He can pretty much, if he wanted to, he could grab She-Ra by the throat, open a portal, toss her in, close the portal. He could do that with He-Man, but he hasn't. Whatever. It's also been shown that he can be an exceptional swordsman, okay? On guard. And has scientific prowess, so hey. Musketeer and Doctor Doom and mixed into one. His best weapon, though, the Havoc Staff. And you've probably seen it. It's very iconic, has that ram's head. Um, that thing has done quite a number on quite a few characters, and it is the signature tool of evil. It harnesses mystic force, okay, and is rarely matched in power. Not to mention Skeletor is extremely cunning and strong, so you match that with the power of this staff, and yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with, but yet he can't beat He-Man. He can't beat him. And obviously why, his weaknesses are his overconfidence, his anger issues, but honestly, guys, he seriously needs an HR department because his henchmen make him look terrible. Just terrible. It's like Beastman screws up, Merman screws up. Evil Lyn, aside from being his ambiguous significant other, don't really know what's going on there, but it's been touched on in different iterations of Skeletor in the DC Comics line, the new series that ran from like 2012 to 2017, in the 2002 series. It's like they've had this kind of chemistry, there's some kind of tension there, maybe something going on, little hush hush. Skeletor is his little, they're as those old ladies say, they're an item, they're kind of together, but not really. We don't know. But yeah, his henchmen make him look bad. He's a smart villain. He's a good villain, but his plots to overthrow, Prince Adam's regime and Castle Grayskull are always foiled because they screw up. And they screw up spectacularly well. It's like, God, it's like almost like they plan to mess up just to make Skeletor look bad. It's like that one employee that purposely does a terrible job but doesn't know it, and they're actually doing it in earnest, but they make their boss look bad. Just terrible. Now, why is Skeletor such an amazing villain? Why am I even talking about him in this episode of Unhinged? Why am I focusing on Skeletor? Well, his legacy, guys, is pretty much unmatched when you compare him to other 80s era animated baddies, okay? I'm talking about the other guys. Cobra Commander, Megatron, Loot and Plunder. Is he from the 80s? Captain Planet? Not to mention the iconic voice over work, the portrayal done by Alan Oppenheimer, where Skeletor can be comical or intimidating with ease, just so much ease, and he does a fantastic job in making the character so likable. Even though he's such a bad guy, he's so likable. And I mean, I know today his character can kind of be seen now as a run-of-the-mill motivational villain that easily treads on the vein of a typical cliched bad guy, the kind of bad guy that just likes to take over because they're bad and just for sake of being bad, and they're just really bad, and I just like to take over things because I want to rule the universe. Well, it's his personality that makes him fun. I mean, even today, Masters of the Universe has such a cult following, and Skeletor is a big part of that. He remains, in my opinion anyway, guys, okay, this is my opinion, he remains one of the most iconic villains in pop culture, especially from a decade that also gave us, Megatron, Cobra Commander, and others, okay? The 80s were a big time for movies, television, several different genres popped up, horror had its heyday in the 80s, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Chucky in the horror genre. But cartoons in the 80s, new Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Transformers. So many awesome cartoons, animated series came out of the 80s, and a lot of the best villains came out of that decade. And Skeletor is part of that. I sincerely believe that his legacy will stand the test of time just because of how well done the character was. And I know it was based, the entire series, the premise of the show, everything was based on a line of toys created by Mattel, of all things, but maybe that's what makes it so endearing to people who have that sense of nostalgia and that love for He-Man. But with Skeletor, I mean, it's just that, as a kid, you played with the toys, you watched the shows, but as an adult, you have those good feelings, those good feelings of, hey, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. And although I'm a 90s guy, I'm a 90s kid, certain influences in my life brought me to He-Man. Namely my mom, when she was a kid, she was, yeah, she must have been middle school, high school during that He-Man's heyday, and one of her favorite shows, definitely when she was growing up. And she turned me on to that and other things from the 80s. A lot of my 80s influences are because of my mom. She was a big 80s centric person, whether it be music or TV shows. Everything from the 80s I fell in love with was because of my mom. So, um, yeah, it remained a fixture in my life. Now, I can't conclude this episode of Unhinged. I'm trying to whittle it down. Mr. M, I had a discussion with Mr. M. Mr. M, I know you're listening. You see, sir, you thought I wasn't going to mention you. You thought I wasn't. But now I am. Okay? Had a very consultation-like discussion with him about the duration of time my videos. I know this is a podcast series. I know. It is a weekly episodic podcast series. I'm trying to veer onto a more, I guess you could say, a not whittled down, but a more compacted, more polished episode where I don't have it run on for a long, long time. I want it to be concise and on point. So I'm really trying not to go over the 20-minute mark. I know most podcasts go into an hour. I mean, this is what I want my show to be. It could be, you have a short episode, you have a long episode, but I want it to be a wealth of information and knowledge and entertainment. I don't want it to drone on and just get boring, so I don't want it to be too long, but I don't want it to be too short. But based on the content that I'm doing, Skeletor, I think this would be a perfect time for this to run. The allotted time, anyway. But I can't conclude this without... so thank you, Mr. M. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, listening to this here on April 24th, 2018. A beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Now, I can't conclude this without mentioning... without mentioning the rumored Masters of the Universe reboot movie floating around somewhere. Okay? Regrettably, I can't really find out anything about the movie except that it's again rumored, slated for a 2019 or 2020 release. Maybe even a few years after that, I don't know. Who's in it? I couldn't tell you. All I know is that some concept art has been revealed on the good old internet, and it looks pretty dark and contemporary. Whether it's a good thing remains to be seen, but it's way too early to come to any kind of conclusions about it. All I know is that I really want Skeletor to be done justice, okay? I don't want a half-assed job on Skeletor. Frank Langella? Is it Langella or Langella? Why am I becoming that guy that mispronounces names? And it's so ironic because my first name is a nightmare for people. A nightmare, guys. I've heard like possibly like 72 different versions of my name. Well, 72 different butchered pronunciations of my name, and I'm becoming... No, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. It's Frank Langella, okay? He did a good job in the 1987 film, playing a Skeletor. A lot of critics and fans alike said that it was one of the high points of the movie. But we don't want a movie like that. Not his portrayal, but we don't want a movie like that because it wasn't Eternia-based. Just please, no. Please, no. We don't want He-Man in New York. We don't want He-Man in Los Angeles or here on Earth. Anywhere. We want He-Man in Eternia, you know, have him be played by an awesome actor who can encapsulate the awesomeness of He-Man, but I want Skeletor to be just as awesome, okay? He's got to be really cool, he's got to be really bad, he's got to be comical, he has to be all that, okay? So that's what I'm waiting for. That reboot foom. The hell is that foom? Reboot film to be really good. Crossing my fingers. Really waiting for some announcements, okay? Anyway, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining me here on another episode of Unhinged. I am yours truly, Kiriakos Vilchez, asking you to oh so kindly like, comment, and or subscribe. Every like this video gets, fun fact for you, a small Dalmatian puppy. Okay? You ever see 101 Dalmatians? Okay, those little dogs, a puppy, a Dalmatian puppy somewhere in the world smiles and becomes an adorable meme. So please, let's change the world together. Let's make a difference. One by one. One Dalmatian puppy at a time. Next episode. Oh, it's going to be fantastic, partner. It's also secret. Why it's a secret is namely because the honest truth is that I have quite a few things in mind for this episode. I don't want to reveal some of those things, but I'm feeling very good about where I want this episode to go. Number 5, the Big 5, not the sporting goods store. God damn it, not that one. Big 5. 5th episode. Very proud of myself. I actually got the series to number 5. Not yet, anyway. Planning to. But yeah, guys, much obliged. Much love. I will see you cats later. Again, make sure to like, comment, and or subscribe. Stay tuned. Hit that notification bell. Also, mention that. I don't mention that in some of my other videos, but please do that. I'm a struggling... oh, God. Struggling YouTuber. Please. Oh. Oh. No. Please, God. No. Oh, God, no. No. Damn it. Why do people do this to me? Why? I can't. My heart. My heart. You know those women that grab their chest? Oh, my heart. No. And they're so dramatic. They're so dramatic about whatever it is. It's like they could have like burnt their meatloaf and it's, you know, Christmas time. Oh, no. God, no. No, Uncle Albert, what will he think of me? He's flown in from Boston, all this. Oh my God, he was looking forward to the meatloaf. God damn it. Anyway, please. But also, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me rant and rave and ramble. I hope you enjoyed this episode about Skeletor. Thank you guys for joining me here on... Wait for it now. Let the fanfare blow, partner. Let the audience clap, cheer, scream my name. A legend in the making. Here on Unhinged.